Hi guys, quick update here for Bitcoin and crypto. It's Sunday the 9th of March 2025. Hope everyone's doing great. If you want to join the group, everything's here. Pay via crypto. Just message me through the Facebook page. If you want to discuss portfolios or consultations or this, that and the other, there are Zoom calls which you can do as well. The email is attached in the description below, as well as through the Facebook page. So whatever you feel more comfortable with. Whilst the videos are released on Facebook, they're also released on Teachable. So you always get access to the twice a week videos on Teachables for those who aren't too keen on joining the Facebook group in that format. Now, we are going to get a part 2 to the mortgage course, hopefully before the end of the year. Now, if we look at this Wall Street cheat sheet, exactly where are we right now? And I would say somewhere between anxiety going into denial. So my investments with great companies, they will come back. The dip is taking longer than expected. Clearly, Bitcoin has chosen to go down here. It's chosen war rather than to continue on this bull leg. There's still, in my analysis of sentiment outside of the cheat sheet, I would say there's a lot of people who are trapped here at unfavorable prices, number one. And number two, I get the overall feeling that the sentiment is still a little bit too bullish to cause a reversal. Unfortunately, the bearish count is very, very bearish indeed. To the extent where possibly you won't see these prices in a very long time. So if you want to know more, come and join the group. Like I said, we're analyzing this all over. We cover Forex, commodities, and obviously the larger stock market, which is also undergoing quite a nasty little leg down here. So right now, to keep it simple for YouTube, that is the major support and resistance level. We are clearly beneath that. So as a minimum, one would have to anticipate short term, medium term, we are bearish. You cannot say it's bullish. 4-year cycle, this, that, and the other, a May top, November top. I'm not agreeing with any of that nonsense. I don't believe in 4-year cycle theories. This would have to happen, right? This major level would have to regain a support for you to call it bearish, right? So even just forget about the Elliott wave, just price action. You cannot say it's bearish. At time of doing video, we are underneath such heavy resistance, and all of that looks like an awful distribution. Volume is getting pretty high here, and if you don't agree with the Coinbase volume, let's pull it up on the futures and let's see how bad it looks on the down moves here. I mean, that is some heavy volume there. So what is the one tool that we can use that we learned from Wyckoff that gives us a very quick representation of the ongoing volume here? And it would be the on-balance volume, which is, whilst it's only net and it's not based on any kind of log chart, is still relevant, I think. So if I take this off and I take this off, you can see here, this is the net it's the net volume basically, right? So if it's a down day, they subtract the volume from the cumulative figure, and if it's an up day, they will add it on. So you can see here, we're really struggling here with the volume. So I mean, it's quite clear on the charts. We've had such very, very big volume days, and they've all been down. Huge volume days and pathetic up days, pathetic. And now we're going back down again. And the same kind of thing here. That was the last major short squeeze that we had. We had a bit of a feeble kind of day here, and then look what's happened here. So the overall volume is very clearly pointing down, and like I said on the last video, this is a weak low. Not every low is buyable. That is a weak low. Did we get ultimate capitulation at this low here? Was it short-term anger, depression, capitulation? The one thing with this cheat sheet, by the way, capitulation isn't necessarily the low, because obviously that's the selling climax. But then you can have spring tests 1 and 2. So it's some a big misconception with this cheat sheet is that capitulation is always the exact low. Not necessarily. There are lower levels of anger and depression, which obviously on a Wyckoff kind of level, that would be spring number 1, spring number 2. But we're nowhere near that there. This is ongoing on every single time frame. So even short term, let's say you think this is a bull leg correction, fine, that's up to you. I don't think that, but fine. To me, it's very clearly in a devastating bear market here, but let's just say you're off that opinion. Short term, it's in a bit of a bull leg correction, a mid-cycle bull leg correction, whatever you want to call it. Even short term, we've not had these major sell signals, and that is a weak low. Why is it a weak low? Because everyone can see the gap. Everyone can see the gap. So it's obvious, we've spoken about this before, gaps and value area highs and this, that, and the other. It doesn't just break through it immediately, right? Price wants to facilitate trade. You can't facilitate trade where it's not been before. Price gets worried and it rejects. Then it figures out what's going on. Then it regains. So to me, this hello has to, as a minimum, get taken out. Well, then next thing you know, we're in the 70s. And this has to get a lot worse before it gets better. So those are just some of the insights there into unbalanced volume, support and resistance, as well as the fact that it's a weak low. And we've not gone anywhere near low enough to really cause these major kind of signals. I mean, if you were to ask most people on Twitter, they're probably somewhere here, complacency. They don't feel euphoric, but they're off the belief that, this is just a bit of a bull leg correction, and the same thing happens every single cycle. They don't realize that we've already topped, and the only bit of doubt that came into our own analysis short term was this leg here, but then it formed a swing failure at that high. So our medium to long term count has never changed. We're very clear on that. The only bit of back and forth had been in a couple of weeks in January, but right now we're underneath resistance. So what would be the short-term Elliott wave count? Well, I don't think it matters really. That market wants to go down. That looks like a 3. That looks very much like a triangle. I don't think you can really blag that as a 1-2, 1-2. I think you're really struggling there. There is a trend line here, a bit of an A, B, C, D, E. Yes, it's a very complex correction. I'm not going to say that it's not, but this is going to get very, very ugly here very, very quickly. So, I don't just believe in buying a futures gap low. That's just way too obvious. Yeah, short term, that might have been a good trade. So to me, that looks like another X or a B, or it could be, a devastating 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. Otherwise, this is coiling here. This is really coiling here like a spring, and it doesn't look as though it wants to break up. So like I said, if you're bullish, that's fine. You're bullish, but you cannot argue with price action. Absolutely not. So you have to say this is the key level, and I've not just drawn a line here. I've given you a bit of a range, and as you can see, it's really struggling here. It would have to do this, and at time of doing video, it's not doing that. 2 minutes after this video gets released all over the world, if it does that, great. I might change my take, but right now it's bearish, and it looks quite heavy. Heavy is the term that I would use here. It looks pretty heavy. I get the overall sentiment based on Twitter, YouTube. Most people are still hanging on to some kind of hope that we're taking out 108 soon. They think there's going to be a May top, a November top, 4-year cycle theory. That's fine. Look what happened in 2018, 2021, 2020, 2014. We had some nasty corrections. And this is going to get very, very bad. I don't see any hope here. Anyway, let's just have a look at Coinbase. So obviously we buy low, sell high. We don't get involved in in these kind of prices up here. It's too high to buy. Basically, it's as simple as that. This was so easy. This and MicroStrategy were very, very easy. While everyone else was calling for a new high on MicroStrategy, we were like, regardless of the possible bullish short-term count on Bitcoin, you don't go near these stocks because that looks like a parabolic wave 5 into there, and that's the problem. So if you were using MicroStrategy as a bit of a leading indicator, that's 5 into there. This is not going to happen anytime soon. Even if Bitcoin goes to 1 million tomorrow, which it won't do, obviously, this still looks pretty heavy. So to me, I think MicroStrategy is a good buy. Sub 250, sub 200, but this has to get a lot worse. Look what happened here to MicroStrategy. It's gone from 108 all the way down to 17. That is a huge move. That is I would guesstimate about an 85% move top to bottom. 90. Wow, it's even worse. So how much is this? What is that? 437 to even 46%. Really? Is it really going to take out this high anytime soon? I don't think so. Now, let's just have a quick look at Solana, which obviously we are blaming for all of this. It's not really Bitcoin's fault. There's too many. Look at that. That just looks very, very heavy. We've gone over this. It's the same fixed range volume profile that we've had from before. So I've anchored the volume profile from this point here to this point here. This is different for those who don't know, perhaps those who are new to the channel. we'll just increase the resolution here just to make the point. This is the visible range. This is everything I can see visibly, which obviously currently is the entire Solana chart on this exchange anyway since 2020. As I zoom in, however, visibly I can now see less. And as it turns out, visibly, all I can see now is since 2023. That's why it's changing, okay? So here we are just showing you the difference between the 2 points, right? But as you can see here, we are really struggling. I mean, I think I could probably get a value area high on here too. Let's just put that in black. So that's the value area high. And it's kind of around the same place. But do you see how if you were using visible range, the value areas would change? Because obviously we're now taking into account 5 years of price data as opposed to just the larger 2. So you have to know when to use both. So I obviously find fixed range is a bit more focused on what I need to be looking at. And as you can see, we are really struggling here. And I mean, we can see it here. Where is the VPOC here? Well, even the VPOC is not even labeled there. So let me just put that in black. I don't know why the VPOC is not labeled. Okay, the VPOC's down there, but that should obviously change as I zoom in here. There's a very prominent node which obviously lines up with here because obviously it's everything that you can see here visibly. So, but just going off the fixed range volume profile, I mean, it's really hard to look at Solana and say as a minimum it's not going to go underneath 100 there. There's obviously stops right underneath here. And there's stops underneath here. So as a minimum, you're going into that 77 to 100 range. So looking at Solana, I would say we're probably up here. We're just in the complacency mode. So there's an overriding sentiment that I'm experiencing here with crypto is that a lot of people are trapped in the meme coins at unfavorable prices. Melania coin, Trump coin, Ponky Dong, Donkey Kong. We got rid of all of them at the top because we buy low and sell high. There's a lot of people in Solana specifically, more so than any other major top 10 currency. And on top of that, this is all affecting people's opinion on Bitcoin. So things have to get worse. We have to go through all of these emotional sort of zones here. And unfortunately, the market is forced. The market forces you to do things. The market only moves based on two reasons. Fear and greed, which is basically what I'm showing you right now, and when you're forced to do things. If you were buying Solana, leveraged, especially above 150 and in the 200s, well, at some point you're going to be forced to capitulate. So I don't think we've really got that forced selling right now. I mean, you can't say that's forced. I mean, this was forced. The people who bought up here at the last bull market, I mean, look at that. If that's not forced selling, I don't know what is. And that was basically the capitulation zone prior to the anger and depression. We obviously saw that. We saw that sentiment and we were buying and we were right in there. So, I mean, is there an alternate account? I'm sure people are, looking at this. I don't, obviously 3, 4, and 5 would be at like 3,000-4,000. I don't really agree with that. So even if you were short-term trading this, looking at it as a bull market correction, we're looking pretty heavy here. And Solana's doing nothing other than bouncing off the value. Let's just take this off. It's just getting in the way now. But that is the visible range as opposed to the fixed range volume profile. So you can see here we're just struggling here around the value area high and once price is happy and starts to accept underneath this level, well, there's a long way to go because there's a lot of repair here. Not a lot of volume really propped up this market from the breakout at 29 all the way up to at least, 116. So from 20 to 100, there's literally not a lot of volume there at all. So market has the potential to rip through that pretty quickly. I mean, you could literally just take this and just do a mirror image of this. Something like that, right? So, because it ran straight up without any real, I mean, look at that. From 32, it doubled without any pullback at all. Then it just pulled back slightly, then it's just rallied up again. So there's just no volume here between 20 and 100, which means as it starts to accept underneath 139, 120, it's going to rip through that pretty quick. So I see no hope here for the crypto market, short, medium term. We have the long-term wave count. I think things are going to get a lot worse before they get better. And in that panic and that fear and that depression and that anger, there's going to be a lot of opportunities. So if you want to join the group, let me know. You can join through there, and like I said, there's various contacts if you want to get in touch to discuss portfolios and everything else. So I'll wrap it up there. Let's just quickly finish off with Bitcoin. Obviously, it is a Sunday today, so the market is closed on the mainland there on the futures, so we're just running that as a triangle. But you know, if you're bullish, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with being bullish. There has to be bulls and there has to be bears. But right now, as a minimum short term, you can't call this bullish till we flip that blue zone. And like I said, there's not a lot of volume propping up this market. Even if you were to take a fixed range volume profile, forget about Solana. Look at how it's ripped up through here. Right, let me just do a fixed range just off the entirety of the last leg. I mean, look at that. There's just no volume there at all. You know, and you know, there's just not a lot of volume. Look how fast we've just ripped through all of that. So, you know, once it bounces around, breaks through that triangle, surely we're going to do this. So like I said, this market's a depreciating asset right now, and a lot of people have to sell for this market to do anything bullish. And right now, I just get the overriding sentiment. There's a lot of people trapped here at unfavorable prices, and they haven't as of yet panic sold.